Okay, it says I'm live. Oh, good afternoon. Welcome to Frankenstein Tea, a short story program for adult listeners. You are at the Island Free Library with me today this afternoon. I am Kristen. I'm the director of the Island Free Library. I welcome you to this short story program. It is, I don't know what it is. It's Saturday, January 8th. Frankenstein Tea used to be a daily short story program. Right now, we're going to try out once a week, Saturdays at 3:00. So here I am, Saturday at 3:00. It's for adult listeners. Anybody can listen, of course, but I pick adult stories. They have adult language, adult themes. They were written for adults, so that's your own judgment after that. It is a beautiful Saturday afternoon on Block Island. There is snow on the ground and sun in the sky and a blue sky at that. So it really makes for some beautiful colors. And I hope wherever you are, you got outside today to enjoy that. The library is now closed for the week. It just got quiet. We had some staff and a friend visiting, but I think everybody's making their way out the door now. We had a big week here. Lots of chores got done this week. January, right? That's when we do chores on Block Island. We get lots of projects done in January. I started kid yoga today. We're really putting an emphasis on virtual programming. Block Islanders are being encouraged to, stay put as much as you can. That's my non-medical term for dealing with COVID these next few weeks. Stay put. Hold on, I'm gonna move this so that my leg kicking it doesn't shake it too much. So we're encouraging you to stay put and join us virtually. We are open. Our regular hours, they're the same winter, spring, summer, fall. So we are open. You are required to wear a mask inside this building. You're required to wear masks inside on Block Island. But we have paused in-person programming. So we're open, we're here, we're safe. I just took my mask off. We've spaced out the library for you to use the whole building safely. And we ask that you do so. We ask that you be safe when you come here. I think that we'll probably start some in-person programming right up again, but we're just on a short pause. Short pause, everybody. So let's see. I did, as I said, we've been doing a ton of chores around here, and I did chores more today. So, there it was, 2:45, and what was I going to read? Those of you who come to this know that I read a short story, and I like to have pre-read it before I read it so that I have some idea of what's coming up as I move along the page. And I was able to pre-read this one. And we're going to give it a go. Welcome to Frankenstein Tea. This is Clerical Error by James Gould Cousins. There were 3 steps down from the street door. Then the store extended, narrow and low between the book-packed walls. 60 or 70 feet to a little cubbyhole of an office where a large, sallow man worked under a shaded desk lamp. He had heard the street door open, and he looked that way a moment, peering intently through his spectacles, seeing only a thin, stiffly erect gentleman with a small cropped white mustache. Standing hesitant before the table with the sign, "Any book, 50 cents. He returned to the folded copy of the Religious Weekly on the desk in front of him. He looked at the obituary column again, pulled a pad toward him, and made a note. When he had finished, he saw, upon looking up again, that the gentleman with the white mustache had come all the way down the store. "Yes, sir," he said, pushing the papers aside. "What can I do for you?" The gentleman with the white mustache stared at him keenly. "I am addressing the proprietor, Mr. Jorith," he said. "Yes, sir, you are." "Quite so. My name is Ingalls, Colonel Ingalls. I'm glad to know you, Colonel. What can I see that the name does not mean anything to you. Mr. Jorth took off his spectacles, looked searchingly. Why, no, sir, I'm afraid not. Ingalls? No, I don't know anyone by that name. Colonel Ingalls thrust his stick under his arm and drew an envelope from his inner pocket. He took a sheet of paper from it, unfolded the sheet, scowled at it a moment, and tossed it onto the desk. Perhaps, he said, this will refresh your memory. Mr. Jorth pulled his nose a moment, looked harder at Colonel Ingalls, replaced his spectacles. Oh, he said, a bill. Yes, you must excuse me. I do much of my business by mail with people I've never met personally. The Reverend Dr. Godfrey Ingalls, St. John's Rectory. Ah, yes, yes. The late Dr. Ingalls was my brother. This bill is obviously an error. He would never have ordered, received, or wished to read any of these works. Naturally, no such volumes were found among his effects. Said Mr. Jorth. Yes, I see. He read down the itemized list, coughed as though in embarrassment. I see. Now, let me check my records a moment. He dragged down a vast, battered folio from the shelf before him. G-H-I, he muttered. Ingalls. Ah, now. There is no necessity for that, said Colonel Ingalls. It is, of course, a mistake. A strange one, it seems to me. I'd advise you strongly to be more careful. If you choose to debase yourself by surreptitiously selling works of the sort, that is your business. But, Mr. Jorth nodded several times, leaned back. Well, Colonel, he said, you're entitled to your opinion. I don't sit in judgment on the tastes of my customers. Now, in this case, there seems unquestionably to have been an order for the books noted from the source indicated. On the 15th of last May, I filled the order. Presumably, they arrived. What became of them then is no affair of mine, but in view of your imputation, I might point out that such literature is likely to be kept in a private place and read privately. For 8 successive months, I sent a statement. I have never received payment. Of course, I was unaware that the customer was, didn't you say, deceased? Hence my reference to legal action on this last. I'm very sorry to have. You unmitigated scoundrel, roared Colonel Ingalls. Do you really mean definitely to maintain that Dr. Ingalls purchased such books? Let me tell you. Mr. Jorth said, my dear sir, one moment, if you please. Are you in a position to be so positive? I imply nothing about the purchaser. I mean to maintain nothing except that I have furnished goods for which I am entitled to payment. I am a poor man. When people do not pay me, what can I do but, why, you infamous. Mr. Jorth held up his hand. Please, please, he protested. I think you are taking a most unjust and unjustified attitude, Colonel. This account has run a long while. I've taken no action. I am well aware of the unpleasantness which would be caused for many customers if a bill for books of this sort was made public. The circumstances aren't by any means unique, my dear sir. A list of my confidential customers would no doubt surprise you. Colonel Ingalls said carefully, be good enough to show me my brother's original order. Ah, said Mr. Jorth, his pursed lips, that's unfair of you, Colonel. You are quite able to see that I wouldn't have had it. It would be the utmost imprudence for me to keep on file anything which could cause so much trouble. I have the carbon of an invoice, which is legally sufficient. Under the circumstances, I think, you see my position. Clearly, said Colonel Ingalls, it is the position of a dirty knave, and I shall give myself the satisfaction of thrashing you. He whipped the stick from under his arm. Mr. Jorth slid agilely from his seat, caught the telephone off the desk, kicking a chair into the colonel's path. Operator, he said, I want a policeman. Then he jerked open a drawer, plucked a revolver from it. Now, my good sir, he said, his back against the wall, we shall soon see. I have put up with a great deal of abuse from you, but there are limits. To a degree, I understand your provocation, though it doesn't excuse your conduct. If you choose to take yourself out of here at once and send me a check for the amount due me, we will say no more. Colonel Ingalls held the stick tight in his hand. I think I will wait for the officer, he said with surprising composure. I was too hasty. In view of your list of so-called customers, which you think would surprise me, there are doubtless other people to be considered. The stick in his hand leaped, sudden and slashing, catching Mr. Jorth over the wrist. The revolver flew free, clattered along the floor, and Colonel Ingalls kicked it behind him. It isn't the sort of thing the relatives of a clergyman would like to have made public, is it? When you read of the death of one, what is to keep you from sending a bill? Very often they must pay and shut up. A most ingenious scheme, sir. Mr. Jorth clasped his wrist, wincing. I am at a loss to understand this nonsense, he said. How dare you? Indeed, said Colonel Ingalls. Ordinarily, I might be at a loss myself, sir. But in this case, I think you put your foot in it, sir. I happen to be certain that my late brother ordered no books from you, that he did not keep them in private or read them in private. It was doubtless not mentioned in the obituary, but for 15 years previous to his death, Dr. Ingalls had the misfortune to be totally blind. There, sir, is the policeman you sent for. Clerical Error by James Gould Cozens gets us started on this next season of Frankenstein Tea that originally appeared in Red Book magazine, copyright 1935. Stay warm, everyone. Wear your mask, wash your hands, keep your distance, sit tight, right? Let's let this next wave wash by, right? We know how to do this. Keep at it. Keep your spirits high. I'll see you all next Saturday, if not before. Peace.